Hi, friends. Do you ever hear yourself saying things like, what if I run out of money? I'll never have enough money. I'll never be able to retire. I'll never get out of this hole. Does staring at your bank account make you freeze? Trust me, you are not alone. I personally have felt the grip of those fears too. It's a feeling many of us know all too well. And in today's episode, it's all about facing those money fears and using them to help you reach your goals. We all have money fears and they can stop us from getting what we want, but they don't have to. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Stephanie, her money coach and the host of her Money Mindset Show. Whether you're navigating a money setback or simply seeking better ways to manage money anxiety, I get it. I know these fears because I've been there too. Whether it was result from a divorce that left me with half my income, half my assets, a big mortgage, and two small kids to raise on my own, or when I decided to walk away from hundreds of thousands of dollars that I invested in a small business that wasn't ever going to cash flow like I had thought. Today, we tackle money fears. It's one of the biggest things that stands in our way of having everything we want. As we wrap up November's focus on the magic of gratitude, we'll learn that money gratitude is a great strategy to facing our money fear. I've shared this before, but 2 years ago, at the age of 54, I faced a major money setback when I had to sell my business. I lost both significant money and 2 years of hard work. During that time, I was so overwhelmed with anxiety as I scrambled to stop the money losses and avoid bankruptcy. The original plan was to open 3 of these franchise businesses with my son, and he was going to manage them while I continued working on my full-time career. He handled all the daily operations from marketing to employees to staffing, but things didn't unfold as we would have hoped. And we were put in a position where we had to make quick, decisive action, or else we faced mounting debt and a burdensome 5-year lease, despite my son's dedication for 2 years. And he worked so hard on that business. We both did. The business just couldn't pay him even 1 cent. So he basically was working for free for 2 years with the hope that all of our plans and dreams would pan out and that would be fine. But this was a difficult situation. And the fear left me paralyzed, making it so hard for me to make these quick decisions that I needed to make. That's when I came face to face with one of our 4 types of fear of ruin. These 4 types of fears, they keep us from making money decisions. I learned about these 4 types of fears by my amazing mentor, Brendan Bouchard. So there's 4. The first one is fear of ruin. This is basically that catastrophic thinking that I'm one bad investment away from losing it all. We think that whatever decision we need to make is going to cause ruin, either ruin your money, ruin your future, ruin your relationship. It could be all of those things. And you're thinking, it's all over. I'm done for. What if everyone thinks I'm a failure? What if I lose all my friends and I'm alone? This is the one that I struggle with most. It's the fear of losing it all, which is interesting because even though I have savings, I have investments, I have income, I have skills and a career, I had to make an intentional adult decision to push through that fear of ruin because it wasn't helping me. It was making me freeze and not make the decisions which I needed to make. In the case of my business, I had to figure out how to get out of it with the least amount of loss. There was going to be loss, but it didn't have to be ruin. This is where I think about the idea of quitting something. My mentality is never, ever quit. Go, go, go until you get it. Don't quit. But I learned through this experience that there might be a time and place where you should quit, even though that fear of ruin was telling me you're a failure if you walk away. The truth in this case was that stepping away from something that was messing up my money situation and my peace of mind was not quitting. It was making a wise decision. At the time, I felt like a quitter, and I was embarrassed to be that person that didn't stick with it and make it work. But I will tell you, quitting that business was the best decision I could have made. It was sinking my finances. It was holding my son back from a career. It was causing massive stress in my money life, in our relationship, in my family. Some jobs, some relationships, they're just damaging and they should be quit on. So, this idea of quitting, should you or should you not, could be a whole episode on itself. The idea of fear of ruin is a time when you really should look at honestly if quitting is maybe something you should consider. The second type of fear is fear of regret. This is when we wonder, will I look foolish? You're comparing and contrasting with things. If I do X, I'll regret it because I'll look like a fool. In my case, it was if I quit, everyone will think I'm a quitter and I'll regret the decision to quit. But the interesting thing about regret, it's that it's not actually taking place in this moment. It's a future thing that people feel. So you don't need to feel future regret that might never happen. Then there's the real fear of rejection, which makes us think that based on our decisions, we won't be loved or we won't be respected or we won't be cared for. We will be all alone. If you make this decision, you'll be ostracized and lonely. The truth is, someone else's rejection of me has nothing to do with me or my decision or how I'm showing up in the world. Many of you will see this video and you might like me or you might not. That does not determine if I come here and talk and try to help people or not. Rejection and judgment is going to happen. And I keep doing this because I want to help anyone that I can. And if that's not you, that's okay. The truth about rejection is that most people aren't thinking about you. We think that everything we do, everyone is looking at us, everyone is judging. And the truth is, most people are thinking about themselves. They're not worried about you. And if people aren't thinking about you, they're not rejecting and judging you. And even if they were, does it really matter? So the fourth is the fear of being responsible. This is the fear that a decision will bring a new level of uncertainty or a challenge or more work or you have to learn a new skill. Your brain, in this instance, is telling you, I won't be able to handle this. How would I do this? But you don't need to worry if you can handle it. It doesn't have to be done perfectly. You can trust in learning and you can trust that you can figure it out. Whatever the decision is, you can figure it out. And if you don't have the skills or the knowledge, you can find someone to help you. Your worry and fear of regret or rejection or ruin or responsibility, it's just a mind game. You can break free of it. You don't have to let one of those types of fear stop you from what you want to do. Listen, everyone has money fears. Everyone, whether you have a lot of money or whether you don't have much at all. But you can use these fears as fuel to turn around a money situation. Especially as women, we need to learn that we can take control of our money situation. Whether we have any or we don't, we can. And we might not think we can because of how maybe you grew up in your family, maybe your dad was in charge of all the money, or even if society tells us that, for example, women can't be great mothers and ambitious at the same time. There's all these messages that we get from our upbringing and from the world that gives us fears about money. There's uncertainty around us right now. People hear things about the economy, about inflation. All of these things in the news make us feel fearful about maybe our current or our future money situation. Sometimes most of us, me included, get consumed with this fear about money. Fear that you won't be able to take care of yourself, fear you won't be able to buy that house you want, fear you won't be able to take care of your kids, fear that a bad career choice and AI is going to take over all the jobs. It just is an endless loop of fear, 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 fear. We must prioritize our financial well-being and get over this fear because having money, having your own money, it helps in this world. It just does. I have learned through the years and years that money gives you options. It gives you options to get out of a toxic job. It gives you options to get out of a bad relationship. In my case, it gave me options to work part-time while my kids were growing up. It gave me options to get out of a bad relationship. I mean, there are options that were open to me because of money and savings were really endless. I invite you to decide not to be stuck in this fear, because fear is the emotional underpinning of so many big money decisions in our life. Fear can be a tool. What if fear was here just to give you a message? What if it was your friend? What if you could be thankful for it? Honestly, I have come to appreciate how far my fears have pushed me. Looking back in my life, I'm now in my 50s. I raised 2 kids alone and got them through college. The fears I had about providing for them after my divorce, keeping our home, paying for all of their activities, actually made me take charge of my finances, which afforded us to stay in our neighborhood. I learned to invest in real estate. I even bought a ski condo that we enjoyed for years and years. I've had years and years of a successful career in tech, which enabled me to save and earn well. Yet I constantly feared losing it all. And when I almost did with this business, I had to reevaluate those fears and learn to use them differently. The truth is, I avoided bankruptcy by walking away from my business because of my real estate investments. They were solid. They were giving me options and power. And if I look back and review my life, I realize I don't have a habit of making poor financial decisions. This business challenge was just a setback. That's it. I didn't have to pile on fears and emotions. It was just a setback, and it doesn't erase all of my good choices. It reassures me that I'll continue to make wise decisions going forward. Not everything I try will succeed, but I have the skills to figure out a way forward. And so do you. You need to assess what has gone right instead of focusing on what is wrong in this money setback and letting fears grapple you and take control. Look back, take a look back, write down every accomplishment, big and small, that you have had in your life, and you will see you have a way of figuring things out. You did then, you do now, and you will in the future. For example, if you've been laid off and you're worried you'll never find a job again, yes, being laid off is scary. You no longer have a title. You don't have an income, you're worried about uncertainty. But when you're fearing uncertainty in your money situation, think of things that are certain. Ask yourself, what did you learn in this job? What are your experiences? Who is your network? Get the lessons that you have so that you can take those into finding your next job. You are who you are. You've gotten to where you are for a reason, and that can never be taken away from you. For example, in my business loss, yes, I lost money, but I still am who I am, and I still have decades of valuable experience to take into my next venture, and that can never be taken away. So, are you ready to change your money outlook? Next time a money challenge or fear is knocking at your door, try these 5 tactics that can change the way you handle the situation. First, you need to face the situation. Especially in a money setback, we tend to hide from it. We tend to let bills pile up. We just don't want to look at it. We don't want to look at our bank account. We want it to go away. But be brave. Be honest with yourself about where you are. Because if you don't know where you are, you cannot make a plan for where you want to go. It doesn't matter how bad you think you are right now. You just need to know. I call it know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. I'll go deep into what knowing your numbers means in a later episode, but it basically means knowing your income, knowing your expenses, knowing what that either overage or underage is, and knowing your net worth. And knowing your numbers is basically about knowing where you are right now, facing the situation with real honesty to yourself, because you deserve that, because you need to know that before you can do the next step, which is take action. You need to write down your bills. You need to have a plan to cut expenses, have a plan to add more income. You need to have an action based on the situation you have and where you are now and where you want to go. How are you going to get there? And this is overwhelming and this can be scary. And so that's where tactic number 3 comes in, where you ask for help. There are people that have been in your situation. When we are in a bad situation, we think no one has ever been there. We think we are on an island by ourselves. But plenty of people have gone bankrupt, have had divorce, have lost a job, plenty, and they are in your world and they have been there and they have done that and they can help you. Asking for help is hard because we don't want people to know that we are struggling or to know that we are having challenges. But once you vocalize this, it helps so much. I'll tell you an example. So when I got divorced, I was so full of shame and depression and fear, just all of those things. And I didn't tell people that were very close to me for a year that I had been divorced. I just pretended that everything was normal. I didn't tell my boss, who at the time was a very dear friend. I didn't tell many of my friends. I didn't tell my neighbor for months and months. I didn't tell anyone because I was so full of shame. And I learned that when I opened up and I told people, everyone in my life was amazing and they were helpful. And it gave me hope and it helped me get over it. I wished I had talked to people before that. I learned that reaching out, being honest, being open, asking for help really did make a difference. So when I was going through my business loss, I took that lesson to heart and I called my dearest friends, my mentors. I told everyone that that was going on. And I got to tell you, it skipped this step of shame and depression and truly helped me. And some people weren't helpful. Some people gave me advice like, stick to it. You can do whatever you want if you work hard enough. But it was still helpful because I could take all the advice and all of the help and I could sort it out. In this situation, my 2 kids even loaned me money to pay off my SBA loan, thousands and thousands of dollars. Asking your kids for money help doesn't feel great, but it feels great that they, no questions asked, no hesitation, are there ready to help you. And that's what you find when you ask for help. You find people who love you, and it feels good when you're in a challenge to find those people that love you. Tactic number 4 is learn new skills. This challenge is an opportunity for you to learn something new. Let's say if you're in a money setback and you need to generate more income, let's say you play guitar. You could teach others to play guitar, and that could be a source of income. The skill you would need to learn is, how do I put myself out there? How do I market and sell services to teach people guitar? Or let's say you've had a job loss. This is an opportunity to reflect on maybe a different career. Maybe you want to learn to code, or you want to learn to start your own business, and you will need to acquire new skills. And the 5th tactic is know when to quit. I talked about this earlier, but don't be embarrassed to quit something that's not working for you, that's hurting your finances. Let's say you did start a business and you're putting a lot of money into it and the money's not coming back and it's put you in a situation where you are underwater. Maybe it's time to quit. Maybe it's not, but it's something to consider. Lastly, I want to encourage you to be thankful for the fear. The fear is just an alarm bell in your body that is an alert to a conversation you need to have with yourself. So let's bring our conversation about fear full circle with gratitude as we conclude this month's focus on the magic and money gratitude. Our fear can still be there, and we can be thankful for what is there to teach us. It is 100% normal to have money fears. And like I said, everyone has them. But remember, fear can be your friend. By thanking your fear, you're bringing awareness to possible lessons. You're breaking free from the fear cycle that could hold you back. This act of gratitude helps shift your focus from what you've lost to appreciating what you already have. As we end this month of gratitude and the journey with Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic, there's one last activity from her book that I want to talk about. It's called Remember the Magic. And it's about counting your blessings from the day before. As you do it each day, it helps you remember all of the great things that happened. To do this, think back to yesterday from the moment you woke up and remember all the good things. Start by asking yourself a simple question, like what good things happened yesterday. I do this every morning. I think about the good parts of the day before. It could be a big thing or it could be a little thing. For example, yesterday, I was happy because I got myself to the gym. That always makes me happy. I had a great conversation with my daughter on the phone. I finished a big project at work and I went out to dinner with a friend and I spent time researching a new investment opportunity. When you ask yourself good questions, your brain looks to find answers. So Rhonda's book has questions like, did you get unexpected money? Did you help someone? Did you hear good news? Did you read a great book? Whatever it is, ask yourself some great questions to be able to pull out the great things from your day. And then make sure to write them down and say thank you and acknowledge your gratefulness for that great thing that happened. That's a wrap, my friends. Thank you for joining. I hope you have loved this month of gratitude and exploring it through the book, The Magic. Next time you feel fearful about money, take a moment to listen to what your fear is trying to tell you and embrace the gratitude for whatever money you have, even if it's not a lot. If you found today's episode helpful, please consider leaving a rating and review. Doing so helps more people who are experiencing financial challenges discover us and join us to learn how to manage our emotions. So please join us next week as we work on goals and habits in December. We want to be armed and ready to take on a great new year. Until then, remember you have the power to change your financial future, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way.